Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life: family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting. And I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you. And I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin. The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man you meet just to get someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left a state in their lives. People who do not have courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone. But what you must do is strive toward your goal. You must be goal oriented. You must organize yourself. You must be clear about what you want in life and why you want such a life. All of us are made up of dreams. As our dreams unfold in our lives, our spirit soars. Realizing our dreams becomes a problem because oftentimes we are beaten down by our friends and family. We are beaten down at school by people laughing at us because of our shoe size, our ear size, our breast size, the clothes we wear, etc. We are beaten down by people saying nothing will come of our lives. We are beaten down when our mothers and grandmothers constantly say that we're going to be just like our father, an inmate in prison. Many of us are also discouraged when our mothers are inattentive. She is wrapped up in her new boyfriend. But life anew is possible. It is my job to encourage you to go as far as you can dream and as far as your dreams can take you. It is my job to get you to believe in life again. I am sick and tired of people failing at life just because they are around negative speaking and negative acting people. Do not let the failure of other people make you lose confidence in yourself. Yes, you may be surrounded by poverty, but you must look for a way out. The book, If You Believe in God, You Do Not Belong in Prison, will help you. What you must do above all else is learn to read competently. You must read, and read. Anyone who laughs at you for reading, you need to leave that person alone. I do not care if it's your mother. Anyone who discourages you, you are to stop all association. Man is not different than plants. We need encouragement to grow as plants need water to thrive. You are to leave foolish, stupid people alone. Their ignorance will weigh you down or even get you killed. Sit down and think how you can avoid these people, especially if they're in your family. If you are overwhelmed with the tiring feeling that feels as if you're carrying a bag of stone around every morning when you get out of bed and think how you'll have to spend another living life you're not passionate about, the books I suggest are the perfect solution for your unique needs. Not only will we help you realize why these feelings overwhelm you and what you can do to change it, but they will also teach you how to live a life of strength, courage, fearlessness in order to realize all of your dreams. If you are lacking the attitude and psychology, proper resource or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambition a reality and creating the life you deserve, you will certainly derive the most benefit from professional, incredible content within these books. Contents that will assist you in achieving the results that you are after. You are never to give up on yourself. Are you ready to leave your future to chance? Of course not. Take your life in your hand and learn all the necessary tools mindset, strategies used by the men and women of courage, used in order to live the life of their dream. Change your life with our book starting today.
I can tell you, this will be the hardest thing you have ever experienced. That moment when you decide to risk everything to follow your dreams. But when you realize it is possible, that this is no longer a dream, this is a reality, you will change. The hustle will be born. But you need to believe in the process. Countless hours, sleepless nights, leaving nothing on the table, because we can't let this one fail. We won't let this one fail. We grind because we have to now. We push because we have to now. There is no wait for this dream. Every move is calculated, every decision is planned and executed. You've got one shot to make this count. No room for regrets in this life. We dream big, we push big, we grind big, we live big. So tell me, are you dreaming or are you pushing?
Become a sponsor of the Women of Courage show by inviting 10 women for a pleasant afternoon to listen to us speak at your venue. Help us change our community to one of peace and harmony. The Women of Courage show is supported by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help women problem solve and to help women realize their dreams. Women should believe that anything is possible. Our sole purpose is the restoration of injured women, both physically and mentally. We meet twice a month on Saturday at a local restaurant to discuss subjects germane to women. We see 5 main problems of black women that we must solve ourselves. One is the sexual abuse of children, bringing unrelated males into the home and fail to notice changes in behavior. Rape and murder of black women, failure to learn the warning signs, breast cancer, which is a failure to be examined, sex trafficking of black women, accepting prostitution as a way of life, economic trials of black women due to the inability to read or lack of education. Learn how to sponsor the Women of Courage show by speaking to our spokesperson, Renee of WHPR. She can be reached at renee88.1fm at gmail.com. I repeat, renee88.1fm at gmail.com. She will tell you all about it, or you can leave a message at the number 734-686-1444. Thank you. Why you need to go register and vote. The presidential election will soon be here, and I have encountered several people who have said they are not going to vote in this election because none of the candidates are honorable or scripturally correct. While these qualities are highly desirable in candidates, we live in an age where few people involved in politics can claim any of these traits. My answer to these people is as follows. As a member of this society, you need to get out and vote. Your vote counts. It is our right to stand up against wrong in any way we can. Our government is a republic in which we are given the responsibility to vote for people to represent us. As a believer in the rule of law, we have to stand up against evil in any way we can. So We need to ask ourselves, are we for the constitutional qualities that honor the rule of law, or are we against it? If so, then you need to vote. Why complain? Vote. President Hussein Barack Obama tweeted to all of us that we all should vote. In November, it will be in your hands. Vote. Dear male listeners, our show may be called Women of Courage, but our name should not stop you from listening to our show. You have as much to learn and to consider as women. Why? Because many of you are fathers, sons, and brothers, and you need to understand those forces and situations that affect the female members of your family. So we do implore you to listen to our show with an ear for understanding. Thank you. For the last two shows, we have been discussing the subject, the battle for survival is in your mind. This is an extensive subject, and I want to thoroughly cover this topic. So it may take me more than two more shows to properly introduce this subject to you. I want you to clearly understand how your survival depends on how well you think. Your survival does not depend on luck, whether or not you win at the crap table or you win at the lotto. Your survival depends on how well you think and how well you make decisions. I want you to repeat this phrase to yourself. My survival depends on how well I think. You must start making good decisions in your life now. You must weigh what house to purchase, what car to purchase, what woman to marry, what friends to be around, what friends to invite to your home, what friends to expose your children to, what university you should attend, what job to seek, on and on. There will be decisions in your life, and you must have some method to help you determine what is the best decision for you. The decisions we make in our lives never stop, so we must have some method to help us reach the correct decision for us. That is the purpose of these shows. I want you to develop a method of how to get to a correct decision for you. From now on, I want you to realize your survival depends on how well you think. During the last two shows, I discussed the problem, which was controlling your thoughts and how your thoughts can cause you to destroy your life. I introduced 11 cases where people participated in violent acts that changed the destiny of their lives forever, landing them in prison. I wanted you to see firsthand how conceiving of a violent act against another person is not necessarily a good idea. Do you really want to end up in prison for the rest of your life for harming another individual? After this discussion, I told you there were two terms I wanted you to consider. These terms were the intervening variable and the unintended consequence. I was able to introduce the intervening variable, but not the concept of the unintended consequence. I am now going to discuss the unintended consequence. Listen closely, because this is the crux of the matter. Before any endeavor, you must stop and think, and I mean think. You must pose questions to yourself. Otherwise, you will be running off half-cocked, as the old folks used to say. The unintended consequence is what usually sinks the wrongdoer. Now, I want you to understand it will take more than one listening to these shows for you to truly appreciate what I'm saying. You must go to our YouTube channel, Touched by the Light Publishing, and listen to these shows again. What I want to happen is that before you attempt anything for the rest of your life, you are to think about these concepts: the concept of the intervening variable and the unintended consequence. Okay, there are three terms used when discussing the same concept. The terms are the unintended consequence. The second term is the unanticipated consequence. And the third term is the unforeseen consequence or the unintended consequence. Okay, I think the best term to use to understand this concept is to use the term unanticipated consequence, because we are all familiar with and use the word unanticipated quite a bit. Everyone understands the word unanticipated. It is something that you did not expect. The unexpected makes this concept easier to understand. Now, these are all sociological terms, but these terms are used differently based on the profession of the person that is using the term. Generals in the Army, Navy, in the military, use the term unanticipated consequence when they are trying to design a tactic for war. A social scientist will use the term unanticipated consequence when trying to solve or describe a social problem. Business people will use the term unanticipated consequence when they're trying to determine how to run their business. In other words, they're looking for business expenses, etc. In my discussion, I am going to use the term unanticipated consequence or the unintended consequence or the unforeseen consequence as it applies to whether or not you should make a particular decision. Remember, we are talking about how you should manage your life. So you need some parameters and how to make decisions. So this concept of the unintended consequence or the unforeseen consequence is what you will use to help manage your life. This will help determine what decisions you should make. To make these decisions will impact the outcome of your life. Now, follow my explanation closely. Generals use the term unanticipated consequence when they're trying to design a tactic for war. Now, I want you to picture yourself as a general. You're managing your life and the lives of your children, and you're looking for information so you can make a decision. Now, you got the picture. You're imagining yourself as a business person or general getting ready to fight a war. Imagery is important when you're contemplating a decision. What I want you to understand is that with thinking, it is possible to think of things that could happen. That is really what will help you making a decision. When you use your imagination, you can think of things that can occur. You can always ask yourself, what would the enemy do in this situation? What would I do if someone broke into my home? What would I do if such and such happens? These hypothetical questions help you plan for eventualities. These scenarios that you think of, then you can plan, take action, then think, then plan, and take action again. The question that you should always ask yourself: what can happen that I have not anticipated? Then sit down and think of things that could possibly happen. One of the things is you decide to break in Mr. Harris's house down the street. Unknown to you, Mr. Harris is a light sleeper. He hears you coming into his home. All he does is reach up under the pillow for his gun and shoots you. Well, you did not anticipate Mr. Harris or Mr. Williams down the street having a gun, sleeping with it under his pillow, and being a light sleeper. Here's another scenario. You decide to break in the house of the little old ladies down the street. What you don't know and did not anticipate is that she goes to the gym every day, even though she's 76 years old. And that is why she was able to hit you in the head and call the cops and take you out of her house. Now, let us consider that you want to open up a business. What questions should you ask yourself for the unintended, the unforeseen consequence? What have I not anticipated happening? What have I not foreseen happening? What can happen to screw up my plans? Let us look at the cases we just discussed. The father who kidnapped his son did not anticipate that his son would finally get up enough courage to try and contact his mother over the computer. The man who killed his wife did not anticipate the neighbors calling the police when he vacated the apartment. The three men who broke into the Florida apartment did not anticipate the apartment owner having a gun and shooting one of them. The two men who broke into the house in Chicago did not anticipate the homeowner having a gun and killing one of them. The two men who tried to carjack a couple's car did not anticipate driving over the owner of the car. The gang members who killed the nurse in California did not anticipate anyone telling the police who had committed the crime. The 5 gang members did not anticipate being arrested for killing the 16-year-old. All of these people made plans to commit a violent act without considering the unintended consequence or the unforeseen consequence or the unanticipated consequence. These occurrences can destroy a person's plan. Here is a real life event that happened in 2009. There was a volunteer fireman named Caleb Lacey of New York. He had received several accolades and recognition for him volunteering to help the fire department. Well, on February 19, 2009, he answered a fire in Long Island, New York. During the fire, Miss Marina, last name Vanegas, age 46, her daughter Suzanne, 9, her another daughter Andrea, age 13, and her son Saul Pressa, age 19, they all died in that fire. During the fire department's investigation, it was learned that the fire was deliberately set by the volunteer fireman Caleb Lacey of Nassau County, New York. In 2010, he was convicted of 4 counts of murder and manslaughter plus arson, and he was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for the death of those 4 people. He set the fire in the laundry so that he could be a hero. He did not plan for the people to die. All he thought about was arriving at the scene and people calling him a hero for coming to help out the regular firemen. He did not anticipate that there would be people at home and those people would not be able to escape the fire. He set the fire in a coin-operated laundry in Lawrence, New York, not realizing that the fire would spread to the apartments above the laundry. That fire killed 4 people, a mother and her 3 children. The headlines read, April 10, 2010, fireman gets 25 years to life for arson murders, New York. Prosecutor says he set the blaze that killed 4 so he could be a hero. Caleb Lacey was also convicted of manslaughter, arson and reckless endangerment. A video showed that the volunteer arrived at the Lawrence Cedarhurst Fire Department 2 minutes before the alarm. Prosecutors say Laci set the fire in a stairwell leading to the apartment above a coin-operated laundry. It was the only entrance and exit for the tenants on the second floor. A fire escape had previously been removed from the building. They said after setting the fire, he raced to the nearby firehouse and put on his gear before the alarm even sounded. Notice he really didn't plan well. Assistant District Attorney Michael Canty said during the trial that after Laci joined the fire department in October 2008, Mr. Laci became frustrated after answering 90 emergency calls, none of them which were actual fires. He also noted that Mr. Laci's brief tenure with the department, he never responded to any calls between midnight and 7 a.m. until the morning of the blaze that he set. Laci, aged 20, set a fire, thinking he would be called a hero, not thinking of the consequences of his action. Now do you understand that it is extremely important when you are planning anything to ask yourself what could possibly happen? Mr. Laci wanted to be a hero. He ended up killing 4 people. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now for my break.
What we need to focus on now is bringing positive energy into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We've all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our life will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we do this is by changing our outlook, leading every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism. And once you do this, you will see the change. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons of why your life is amazing. And once you do this, you will see the change. You will be the change. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful. And think positive.
Reading is one of the most important activities that a person can participate in. A world of information is available to you. This information can help you shape and change not only your life, but the lives of your children and spouse. Visit the website touchedbythelight.us and find yourself a book to read. For more information, you can email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Renee stepping out on faith. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern.
I think one thing we can all agree on is how important it is to find time in your life to grow with your personal development, your hobbies, with your profession, to step outside of your routine to explore. We cannot grow. We cannot expect change unless we are willing to try something new. And that's what I want you to focus on right now. Are you willing to step outside of your comfort zone? Are you willing to try something new regardless of the outcome? Because even when you try and you might not succeed, you still grow from the experience. That's what life is about. Being comfortable even when you're not comfortable. And I promise you, once you start to take those chances, you will begin to attract new opportunities into your life. But trust me, this step is never easy. But what you need to focus on is the end result. Are you content with staying the same, or are you looking for growth? Are you looking for change? Are you looking for opportunity? If you are, this is how you do it. You need to grow. Having a goal or a plan to accomplish something isn't enough. You need to dig deeper than that. You need to tap into your subconscious to begin to reprogram your mind. And you do this through positive affirmations. Short statements that you repeat every day, regardless of your goal, how big or little. Whether your goal is to make more money, be a better boyfriend or girlfriend, or find a better job, whatever your goal is, you need to come up with short, positive statements about that goal and repeat it each morning. Start by doing this for 5 minutes. And once you begin to do this, you will start to see how the subconscious and conscious mind can work together. You have the potential to do amazing things. And through positive affirmations, you start to build that confidence. Think of all the goals that you've made in the past. Think about the mindset you were in at that moment. It was one of confidence and control. I will be successful in my job. I will make my next promotion. I will meet the love of my life. These are words of affirmation. Now tell me, what are your words?
Do you see now why you must guard the way that you think and that you need to consider the consequences of your actions before any endeavor? Because your life and the lives of your children depend on what you decide to do or what you decide not to do. If you are to survive, you must face the day and change. Life is not for the weak and the faint of heart, because they live each day in terror and fear of what might happen. You do not have to be one of these people who is destroyed by the snares and traps of the mind. Take control and will your life into existence. You do this by feeding your mind with new information and changing friends who are toxic to your life. Taking advice is a form of following. If you're going to follow a black woman or a black man, make certain that he or she is a person of integrity and they have character, that they're not concerned so much with their breast and butt size, that they're not loudmouths and that brag all the time. There is nothing more pathetic to see in church than a reformed woman or reformed man begging God to forgive them for their sexual transgressions when their sons is languishing in prison because of their neglect, or their daughters are walking the street because the mother neglected them or the father neglected them, or that they had the lack of courage and belief in self. Rather than these people going to church begging God to help them, they need to stand up, get a job, and go save their children. You are never too old to change. You must ask more of life than a snort of coke, a hit from a cigarette, and a wink from a man or woman. We hope after this broadcast, your circumstances will have changed today, because you will begin to doubt your motives and the way you've been thinking. Doubt is good, but use that with a follow through and change. Become willful for the benefit of black men and women, not willful for their destruction. People are destroyed by harsh words and rebuffs. You are no better than the next woman. You are just good at hiding your nature. Instead of being a ravenous wolf, change and become a woman or man of courage, a woman with a purpose to bring forth life, not death, through her labor. I am going to introduce 2 more books to you that I think will help you to introduce these books, should help support you in your attempt to change for a better life. The 2 books are entitled A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times. Let me say to you, I'm not trying to convert you to become a Christian. All I want is for you to read the books and entertain new ideas. Okay, the 2 books, A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times, were written for the people that find themselves in a dark place. You get to this dark place by allowing people and or circumstances to weigh you down. These 2 books will give you a way back out of the darkness. The books provide you with tools that you can use to fight your way back to the light. When you let fear control you, your thinking becomes chaotic. You will not problem solve correctly. Your body will record the statements of your mind and you will feel sick. As soon as you begin to feel uncomfortable or feel on edge, you need to examine your thoughts. You need to ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What did I just say to myself? What fears am I releasing into my spirit? If you get a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, or you get a headache, or you begin to frown, or you can no longer smile, you need to begin to ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? What thoughts change the way I am feeling? My mind is sending negative images. These images are taking you to a dark place, especially if you feel like running. Remembering unpleasant situations cause dark thoughts, or make comparisons also elicit dark thoughts. For example, Robert left home yesterday morning looking for a job, but he did not find a job. I want you to picture Robert as being your brother who's been borrowing money from you a long time, or Robert is your husband who's been employed a long time. Each of these people said that they left home looking for a job. They returned and said they did not find a job. Therefore, you concluded, if I leave home looking for a job, I will not find a job. First of all, this is a stupid assumption. How do you know Robert actually looked for a job? How do you know he did not leave home and go to his friend's house and play video games until 3 o'clock in the afternoon? How do you know how many employers he tried while looking for work? How many jobs did Robert tell himself that he could do? Did he tell himself that he could become a short order cook, a dishwasher, a waiter, a person who answers the phone, a fireman, a EMT driver, working as an orderly in the hospital, etc.? You're basing your assumption on what you think Robert did, but you really don't know what Robert did. So Robert came home and said he couldn't find a job, so you conclude that if you go out there, you can't find a job either. That's not true. What jobs did Robert dismiss thinking negatively that he would not be hired? Robert could also be a big liar. He wants everyone to think he spent all day looking for a job, when actually Robert spent all day in the bar drinking because he was afraid of rejection. He was afraid of going and asking for a job and having somebody tell him no. Robert would rather go rob a grocery store than to face the fact that he needs to learn to read so he can fill out a job application. It may be the type of person that would rather take a chance on going to prison than revealing that he does not know how to read and write. So he's having a hard time trying to get a job because he doesn't know how to read and write. So how can he fill out an application? And Robert is not asking anyone for help. Think about this statement. As long as McDonald's, Burger King, or Wendy's make hamburgers, one of these restaurants will be hiring. These restaurants are not shy about telling the public to come eat their hamburgers. So why couldn't Robert find a job? People are still eating hamburgers. Maybe the problem is Robert does not have enough ego strength to work a job around a lot of teenagers. See my point? Is Robert's ego so fragile that he dreads seeing any of his friends come into a restaurant and he has to wait on them? So to avoid this imagined embarrassment, he robs a grocery store and kills the clerk. Just because Robert can't find a job doesn't mean that you can't. Create your own future. Read the 2 books I discussed, A Christian is Never Desperate and Be Not Defeated in Hard Times. You can learn how to fight for a better life. You can read the first chapter of each of these books by going to the website touchedbythelight.us and clicking on the cover. There's a lot you can gain from reading these books. Do not reject this advice. If you're sitting there without a job and you're holding a gun, contemplating violence, you need to change. There are thousands of black children in this world that's sick and tired of having to go see their parents in prison. You should not subject your children to this trauma. You need to find another way out of your dilemma other than violence or selling your body. That's what this series is about. Your survival is based on the battle that you conduct in your mind. You need to learn how to fight against negative thoughts. Anytime you're thinking about committing a crime or selling your body, that is a negative thought. The battle for your survival is in your mind. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now, dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer in the hands of 1 million people? Please go to the website www.touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We are trying to reach 1 million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support. Modern day life is filled with many sources of anxiety and emotional pressures. There is an increasing need to excel at everything and fast. Work, family, friendships all require an individual's attention. We are all chasing something, sometimes driven by our own desire and often too trying to meet these societal bars and measures of prosperity that have been ingrained into us since childhood. Amidst this rat race that always has us always grasping for something or some reprieve and hanging on to any source of comfort that we can find, there are still those among us who try to drag us down with a lack of faith. It is difficult to understand why anyone would choose to put out negative energy toward the people around them. We are all just trying to get by and achieve our life's goals. It is troubling to have to deal with unnecessary, unproductive criticism and naysaying. In order to thrive, it is important that one finds the boldness to rise above the soothsayers of doom. Undoubtedly, it is a difficult task, especially when the naysayers are loved ones who ought to be cheering you on to greater heights. There are loved ones who are naysayers, and they will repeatedly say negative things to you each and every day. Why? Because they hate themselves, because they know you're striving toward a goal and they are not. I say some naysayers are loved ones who ought to be cheering you on to greater heights. Except it is probably worth remembering that non-belief is their chosen path. And while you may desire their support and encouragement, you cannot force it out of them. Only an individual in their heart of hearts truly understand what outcomes and achievements they want and hope for out of their own lives. It is important to focus on those life goals and work toward them. One must remain strong against odds, encouraging themselves that it will indeed all come to fruition. Just as darkness cannot drive out darkness, you would be hard-pressed to overcome non-belief without being tenacious enough to stand in faith. What I am saying is leave the naysayers. I don't care if they're in your family. Avoid them, move across town, change your phone number, whatever. But leave the naysayers to themselves because they are not going to change. And you cannot change them. If you want to make something of yourself, you have to focus. You have to eliminate distractions. You have to eliminate Instagram, Facebook, time wasted even on YouTube, Twitter, video games, Netflix, Tripod, all the apps, having beer, hanging out with your friends on the weekend. You have got to be willing to sacrifice all of that energy that you use for the above things. You have to focus that energy on new goals. Now, people are going to come around you. Let's go on Facebook. Let's go out for a beer. Let's play a video game. Say no and leave the area. You must focus on your new goals. Success is not free. You pay for it by hard work and focusing. The more things you throw on the fire, the more you will be able to focus. You need to research how to develop focus, how to develop laser-like focus, how to pick a niche and become a specialist, how to become a completely different person, how to become a new and completely different person, how to become a new you, and how to obtain your goals at ease. Remember, if you miss one of our shows, you can visit our YouTube channel at Touched by the Light Publishing to watch and listen to previous episodes of Women of Courage. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Women of Courage, and have a great day.